Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kelly Troutman. I am a certified hand therapist. In today's video, we are going to be talking through a home exercise program for those of you that are experiencing trigger finger. So my goal in this video is to educate you on some of the things that you might try at home to help treat your trigger finger. Now, you should always consult with a doctor or a rehabilitation professional to kind of talk through your individual case before you start any exercise program. If you have trigger thumb, this video is not going to be exactly targeted to you. I am going to do a separate video for trigger thumb. You can definitely watch this video and glean some information from it, but don't worry, I've got you. The next video is coming. This video is focused on trigger fingers, so that's going to be any of the 4 fingers, not so much the thumb. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss another hand therapy video. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything, please leave them below in the comments. Let's get into it. So first things first, one of the most important things in understanding how to treat your trigger finger or how to make your finger get better is to know that clicking and locking is not good. So you don't want to play with it. You don't want to keep testing it to see if it's happening. I understand that you have to use your hands throughout the day. So yes, occasionally your finger might lock or click or trigger, but you don't want to do it intentionally. You don't want to do things that cause the finger to trigger or lock. You don't want to squeeze like a stress ball to exercise. You don't want to be like waking up and testing to see if it's still triggering. Don't do it. Avoid locking as much as possible. Avoid triggering. That being said, it is very difficult to perform daily activities or to sleep without letting your finger lock or curl. Sometimes it happens, it's okay, it's not gonna make or break you, but just remember every time that it clicks or it locks, the tissue inflames a little bit more and it irritates the tissues a little bit more. So it's gonna continually get worse if you're playing with it all the time. So what I recommend to help with that is for the 4 to 6 weeks or so, using some type of splint brace, some type of block during functional activities or during sleep to help prevent the finger from locking. Now you have to be careful. You don't want to completely immobilize the finger. You don't want to put it in a cast or something to keep it completely immobilized, because if you do that, your finger is going to get really stiff and that's not going to help you in the long run. So you need something that will prevent the finger from locking but not keep you completely immobilized all of the time, because you don't want to get stiff. So I'm going to show you what I typically make for my patients, but just know that if you're at home, you don't have a therapist that can make a splint for you, there are a lot of things you can use around your house to help you out, and I will give you some ideas for that too. So the daytime orthotic that I usually make for patients looks kind of like this. It's a little ring type of splint with an extension piece that comes down into the palm. So they just slide it on their finger and it blocks the big knuckle or the MP joint from bending down, so you can still function. It is pretty annoying, I won't lie. You will definitely get annoyed with something like this because it limits you a little bit. It gets in the way, but it does prevent the finger from getting stuck down or from going far enough to the point where it locks or triggers. So I have people wear this a lot during the daytime. Anything that can block the big knuckle will be helpful. This will be a little bit harder to make at home, so I would definitely recommend maybe like trying to talk to your doctor about seeing a therapist that might be able to make a splint for you. Even something like this for 4 to 6 weeks, even if you don't have any therapy at all, but you just have this type of splint and some exercises you can do at home, this actually helps so much. So I would definitely recommend talking with your doctor about getting some sort of splint from a hand therapist. At nighttime, however, you might be able to make your own like little orthotic for that. I just use a little piece of soft Velcro. So this is like a 2-inch width Velcro. You could probably use like felt, or you could use like some sort of stiff, heavy material. If you sew, you could just sew that into a tube. This is literally just Velcro and then iron tape on top You could make it out of duct tape. You could make it out of a tampon, like an empty tampon plastic. Just cut the plastic down. It just literally slides onto the finger like a tube. So when you sleep, your finger, you know, naturally we sleep with our hand curled. So this is going to prevent that, which is why it's really helpful. But you could definitely make this out of something at home. You just have to kind of be creative and think what you could do to make like a little sleeve for you at nighttime. I don't recommend this as much during the day because it does block the entire finger. We do want to maintain flexibility of the IP joints during the daytime. So let's say you're wearing this during the day, you're not really getting any motion at the PIP joint, that middle knuckle. You're getting maybe a little bit at the DIP joint, but you're gonna come out of this being really, really stiff. So I prefer to use this at nighttime when you're not moving your hands anyway, and then using like more of a ring type splint for the daytime so that you still get a little bit of bend or flexibility in your finger so you don't end up too stiff. So that's splinting. In terms of stretching, there are a lot of different exercises that you might be recommended or that you might be able to try. Exercises are very individualized, and I think in one of my previous videos I showed how to do blocking of the digits where you just bend one joint at a time. But I found that some people have a really hard time controlling that and not locking while they do it. So for sure, 100% of the time when you're doing exercises and you have a trigger finger or you're doing stretches, you do not want your stretches to cause locking or triggering at all, 100% of the time. If it's causing locking or triggering, do not do it because it's gonna make you worse overall. What I tend to recommend, the first time that I see someone that has a trigger finger, there's a lot of information. So I try to keep the stretches really simple, and I do tend to recommend like forearm stretches first because we know even though the pain is in the finger, the problem is in the finger, the muscle that is affected is actually a long flexor muscle. So even though the tendon affected is here, the muscle belly is out in the forearm actually. So if we do stretch that out, it will help lengthen the tendon. It will help take some of the tension off the finger. And it's usually a safe exercise, and it's probably something that we should all be doing anyway because we, you know, tend to use our hand. We're typing all day or we're gripping things or whatever. We never stretch our forearms out. So that's what I usually recommend first. So to do that kind of stretching, you just hold the arm out, the affected arm, and then you're using your other hand to bend down at the wrist as far as you can and hold for about 5 seconds. Same thing going up, pulling back from the wrist. I don't usually tell people to pull from the fingers. You usually want to pull from the palm so that it comes back. There you go, that way. And you can also help hold the fingers up. So you don't want to be in that position, right? You want to kind of get that wrist back as far as you can. Usually you want to complete these with a straight elbow. If that's too much tension for you, go ahead and bend the elbow. That takes a little bit of the pressure off. With those stretches, you want to hold them about 5 seconds. You're just pulling to the point where you feel a stretch or just like a gentle tension. You should not feel pain with that stretch. So that's usually what I recommend people kind of start with is the forearm stretches. A few times a day, I recommend like every couple hours, take a stretch for 5 seconds in both directions. So throughout the day, you'll get that in. And that really does help over time. The other exercise that I like to recommend is doing intrinsic stretching. This is definitely a more advanced type of exercise. So if you're just starting out, I wouldn't start with this. When you're starting to feel maybe a little bit better, a couple weeks in to your journey, then you might be able to start trying this exercise as well. Intrinsic stretching is going to stretch out the little tiny muscles in the hand that are kind of right in between the bones in the fingers. And so you want to be very gentle with these stretches. You never want to force it. Your affected hand needs to stay relaxed the whole time, so it can't be actively doing the movement or you're going to have the finger trigger. So I'm going to show you with the pinky. So you imagine this is like a straight line of the hand, right? You You're going to bend both tip joints of the pinky, so the PIP and the DIP joint, and then from there you're going to gently push backwards So the force is going this direction. So I'm bending kind of that top knuckle, the big knuckle, backwards just a little bit. You don't want to crank it. You just want to take it to a point where you feel a little bit of tension. Okay. So I'm trying to think how I can show you the index finger. So same thing with the index. You're bending into like a hook position, and then you're gently going to push backwards at the big knuckle. Okay. And you'll hold that stretch usually for about 5 to 10 seconds. Again, no pain. It shouldn't be causing locking or triggering for you. So that's just another suggestion for a stretch. Again, it's a little bit more advanced, so you might consult with a therapist before you start that exercise, or if you feel like you're not doing it right, let me know and I can try to help you out too. The other thing that I like to recommend is doing a little bit of self-mobilization, which means self-massage. You don't always want to beat up your other hand by, to like rub the area all the time, because then your other fingers might start to get sore. So what I usually recommend is using like a highlighter or a Sharpie, or like a thick, like a whiteboard marker or a chapstick tube, a lipstick tube, whatever you've got, mascara, anything you've got on hand. Something round, cylindrical, not super small. You want it to be a little bit thicker width. And then you can kind of roll that like on the table. So I'm going to show you the area you want to target for the finger is right through this part of the finger. So it's like this little branch here, right at the base of the fingers. That's where you really want to target your pressure. So let me show you what that looks like on a surface, okay? Okay, so we've got our pen. You're going to place your hand on top, and then you're gently going to roll the pen around on the surface and massage the area. You can usually do this, if you're watching TV or something, you could do it on your lap. You want to do this maybe like 2 times a day for a few minutes at a time. It's something you could easily do while you're at your desk or you're on the phone, you're working. Even if you're like driving, just be very careful not to focus on it, but it's usually something you don't have to pay that much attention to. And doing a little bit of massage like that really helps for a few minutes twice a day. It also helps to do an ice massage. So you can use an ice pack 10 minutes at a time. But if you want to get more of a deep localized effect with the ice, you can use an individual ice cube, wrap it in a paper towel. You can use a Dixie cup and freeze it, whatever you've got. And then you want to target again this area of the finger. So if I'm targeting the index finger, I'm going to take the ice and directly apply it to the skin. You can kind of massage it, go up and down, side to side. It's going to feel like it burns, it stings, it aches, and then eventually the area will go numb. For a finger, you probably will only have to do this about a minute, maybe a little bit longer, but just try to get through that minute as best you can. Make sure that you don't have hives or any weird rashiness after. Certainly if you have any reason why you shouldn't be doing cold treatments like this, like you have cold allergy or intolerance, then don't do it. But if you can kind of get through that first minute where it starts to go numb, it really does help. It's going to feel miserable for that minute. Like, I won't lie to you, this doesn't feel good. But afterwards, it will feel better, and it will actually really help. If you can do the ice massage like once a day at least, like after your work day is over or at the end of your day, it really helps. So that's my suggestion for ice. Instead of using an ice pack, I would recommend ice massage if you can tolerate it. And that's pretty much it. That is all of the basic things that I would give as a home exercise program for a trigger finger. Of course, it's not all inclusive, right? Everybody is a little bit different, but these are just some of the common exercises, tips, and tricks that I give for trigger finger patients. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you find it helpful in some way. As always, if you have questions, concerns, comments, please leave them below. I will respond to everyone. Please like this video or give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching.